This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the Preacher Man.
Well, welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man. Shanon's going to join us shortly. He'll be on the second half of our segment. Listen, we have a great program for you tonight. We designed with you certainly in mind. This program is going to be dealing with the fact of we have Brother Cecil McDonald he's from Arkansas. We're going to be talking about Nikki Haley and her endorsement that she received from the Koch brothers and what that will mean for her and also for the Republican Party. Then we want to talk to Shanan. He and I are going to be talking about who's going to be the next flipper in the Fulton County case against Donald Trump. So you don't want to miss it. You want to hang on in there, stay there. We're going to get back with you on the other side after Mr. McDonald's interview, after Miss C's interview. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go on and have Miss C with news and information. Miss C?
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast or more. Hey, Bishop Greg. Hey, Pastor Shanan. Hope you all are doing well. Hope everybody out there is doing well and enjoying themselves in life. Listen, I got a few tidbits of news I want to tell you about. Join Refreshing Place Ministries at 10 a.m. on Facebook Live and on YouTube or in person at 5336 Snap Finger Park Drive Indicator. They also invite you on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. to Bible study, and that's on YouTube. That's Refreshing Place Ministries. Apostle Robert L. Williams and First Lady Sarah Hurd Williams invites you to Straight Life Church of God Pentecostal at 4228 Glen Haven Drive Indicator at 10:30 a.m. You beginning with praise and worship. They also invite you on Wednesdays to At the Table at 7:30 p.m. and that's on Facebook Live and YouTube. Join Sarah Hurd Williams for A Time in the Word with Sarah Hurd. That's at 6 a.m. on Sunday mornings on WATC. That's TV 57. I've checked her broadcast out many times, and she always has such lively content. You'll love it. Now, they're going to have a Christmas toy giveaway beginning December the 8th. And if you would like to apply for the toy giveaway, you can go online to refreshingplace.org and fill out an application. If you have problems with the application, contact Sarah Hurd Williams at 770-843-2934. Dr. Glenda Sherman Ministries and Shekinah Glory Tabernacle Praise and Worship Center invites you to join them on Facebook Live or in person at 6087 Covington Highway in Stonecrest, Georgia. Intercessory prayer begins at 11 a.m. and the worship service at 11:15 a.m. They also invite you to join them for Bible study on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. on Facebook Live. Now listen, there are 4 things I'd like for you to do. I'd like for you to subscribe. I'd like for you to like us and leave comments. Let everybody know about Straight Talk News. Don't keep it to yourself, okay? And then I would like for you to leave comments and let us know how we're doing. We would really like to hear from you, okay? All right. Now, if you'd like for us to announce your event, send it to Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. I have tried to give you all these announcements about 5 or 6 times before now, and I can't stop laughing, but I did make it through this time. But the other times, I was just giggly. And so I don't know what's wrong with me today. I've had senior moments, and I'm giggly. But anyway, I'm just happy. It's my time of the year. I love it. But anyway, we'll see you next time. Have a good time. Enjoy.
Well, listen, this is Greg Fann, the preacher man, and I'm here with Cecil, and he's over there adjusting cameras and doing this and doing that, but he is in Arkansas. He is not here in Georgia. He's in Arkansas. What's going on, Cecil? How you doing today, man?
How you doing? Oh, man, I'm doing fabulous. It's so good to be here with you. It is truly a pleasure.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you to be a part of Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher man, and my co-host Shanan Jones, who's not with us today, but he'll be on a little later on. But since you know, you and I, we've been talking a lot. You know, we both are political junkies. That's what I like to call myself, a political junkie. We both are political junkies, and we get high off of politics. We get high off of politics. And you're there in Arkansas. What part of Arkansas are you in now?
I'm in the northeast part of Arkansas, Mississippi County, Blytheville, Arkansas. We are 4 miles from the Missouri state line. So if you ever going up 55, Interstate 55, you will come, as soon as you come out of that boot, see it's a little boot hill above us. The hill of Missouri is a boot, and we out there 4 miles from the line. So if you ever going Interstate 55, you will come through my hometown. Blink about twice. Okay, that's
so you say if you come through, do the speed limit, right?
Do the speed limit. Yeah, you might want to do the speed limit. Them fellas out there can be kind of tough, you know. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
You know, we've been talking about this thing with the Koch brothers and the endorsement of Nikki Haley. And of course, we want to dig into that a little bit. Before we have our discussion on it, I want to show this clip from the CNN reporters as they announced the Koch brothers endorsement and throwing monies and volunteers and all these things and people behind Nikki Haley for the nomination for the Republican president. All right, we're going to listen to this clip, and then we'll be back on the other side.
He's been in Republican politics. I think the Koch brothers became kind of the Democratic boogeyman. There's a ton of money, as Shane was noting. My question right now is, it's a grassroots organization that has a ton of volunteers with it, AFP, plus the money. What kind of juice do they have in this primary? Can they, in Ron DeSantis, can they elevate Haley to be the clear number 2?
I think what it shows us is that they're putting their money and their team and their volunteers behind her. Because, again, what they started telling us early this year was anyone but Trump. It can't be Trump. And so they're really doubling down on that and pointing out that Ron DeSantis is also not the choice for Republicans. And so looking at the field that's left, they chose Nikki Haley, who has the most momentum. And we have seen that her poll numbers have increased, especially after each Republican debate, which there's another one coming up. They're putting their money behind that. And I think it's telling as well that, you know, in Iowa, Kim Reynolds, she put her support behind DeSantis. Both these scenarios did not choose Trump, and I think that's really telling for what people who have some say in the party are letting us all know, that we have to move beyond this because it's forward-looking.
Isn't that the whole issue? They picked 2 different people, therefore making it more difficult for the anti-Trump vote to the extent it exists.
But it's important to have choices. If we continue to follow along the Trump method, we will lose, and also our democracy will lose. Our Constitution will lose. And I think people are recognizing that within the party, the real dangers that are at play here, and they're looking for any other avenue but Trump.
And part of the memo, right, was that one of the reasons we think Nikki Haley is the person to put our money behind is because they believe she can bring in some of those independents, some of those moderates who have been turned off by Donald Trump. How are Democrats, Maya, looking at this morning? Yes, we recognize the state of where things are in terms of the power of Donald Trump and where he sits this morning, but is Nikki Haley seen as a real threat?
I'm going to go with Shane here. I think this is about the honorable mention in this campaign. I think it is interesting, and one thing that's particularly striking from the standpoint of the statement that they made about the extremism that Donald Trump represents and how Nikki Haley is the counter to that kind of flies in the face of their history of actually supporting getting Donald Trump not just elected, including some of the work that they helped to fund in Wisconsin in 2016 and the ads that helped support him by going after Hillary Clinton. But, when you go back to the origins of why Donald Trump has been so dangerous for democracy, his lies about the election in 2020, this all goes back to the attack on voting rights that, frankly, was a signature of the Koch brothers that began, after 2008, and the efforts to make it significantly more difficult for Americans lawfully allowed to vote to vote. And that's the origins of the Great Denial and the Big Lie. And that's something that we owe, frankly, to the Koch brothers and to Alex. So the roots of this very danger to democracy is essentially coming from the same folks that are now saying, oh, wait, now democracy's in danger.
All right, all right. So here we are. You've heard the commentators. You've heard what the people will say it, and let's talk about this. The Koch brothers, wealthy. I mean, wealthy men.
Yeah.
Wealthy. It's something.
Right.
And they created this organization called Alex that moved across the country, supporting legislation of getting legislators, Republican legislators, to put out some of this bad legislation that's going through a lot of these states now, right? And I'll give you one, for instance, here in Georgia, where is the Koch brothers fund legislation, introduced legislation that all DAs that in the state of Georgia, if they don't have a strong conviction rate, the governor can create a panel to remove that elected DA away from his or her seat because they feel that DA is not doing his job. And of course, in Georgia, they were looking at talking about using that law to remove Fannie Willis from this particular case, but the governor wouldn't go along with it. The governor wouldn't go along with it. But I'm just saying is that, but Alex is the organization that put together all this bad legislation that across the country that the Republican House and Senate has introduced into legislation. As she said, is that Alex was the one who was dealing with voters' rights. And they created this monster. Now, I think this monster is out of control. This individual is out of control, and they truly not going along with it. So I'm going to stop there and let you give comments about what you heard and what you feel about the Koch brothers supporting not Donald Trump, taking their support from Donald Trump and now supporting Nikki Haley.
Well, I've seen that, the Koch brothers, this is their second time I did a little research on them. Went back and saw that one particular time they supported Hillary. And now they're going back and they picked up Trump. Now they're with Nikki Haley. What I'm thinking that this is particularly a move, and it's a move to get him out of there, and this is their front runner. This is who they want to make the front runner. Because if you look at Nikki Haley's record, you can go back and see that she really falls in line. Plus, she has a Tea Party history. So she knows exactly what is low taxes for corporations, low income wages, cut Medicare, and to do all these things, which is in line with the Koch brothers. I think for them, it's a good move. I mean, you mentioned Alex, but they also have a grassroots organization out of their super PAC that's basically all across the country. So they know what they're doing. They got the money to do it. The thing is, can they make her, or can they take down Trump and look like they're getting rid of him? Because mainly, I think Trump is affecting the business that they do. And with being billionaires, whether you're the president or not, you're not gonna get in the way of their business as usual. So.
Well, let me just come back on the stream with you here, sir. Okay. First of all, and just say that I agree with you. I think that one is that Trump represents something that they don't totally agree with, in terms of doing away with democracy. They may won't like parts of it, but they certainly don't like him as being a person that nobody can control. Let's just be true.
Well,
you can't control him.
No, we know he wants to be the dictator.
Right.
And see, they got rules and they somewhat got rules and regulations set in place for them to manipulate and do everything. And Trump ain't gonna follow those rules. Trump is gonna do Trump, and that's the if he can get away with it, he gonna push it to the limit. So with her, I believe she comes more in line with her. But I got this question for you though.
Sure.
Okay, here's a group of people, and this is interesting that she took this position. That normally these are basically part of that old white man establishment. They are putting. Well, I know why they. I see another way why they putting her up here. Here's a woman that basically that they will be able to. They are really not even for having a woman in that position as being the head. That head position that they see the presidency being the supreme job in the world. Then Nikki is really not running against Joe Biden. This is a thing against Kamala Harris. This ain't about Joe. And I'm saying, are they setting it up for 2028 instead of 2024?
Well, and this is junkie talk. This is political junkie talk. That's a good analogy. They could be, but Sarah Palin was the same way. Come on now, they did the same thing with Sarah Palin.
But Sarah Palin was
you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. So
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But but Palin was in Alaska, and Alaska in this particular case, Alaska not really part of the United States. They up there out of the way. But Nikki Haley is, she gonna be considered the Southern Belle, although she's what is she? She's not. She's really ethnically she's not. But I see this to be interesting.
But let me just say something. But when the attack is on the South, let's be clear, because they don't want anyone under Project 2025. They want to do away with the D South states. They don't want anybody in the D South states in any positions in DC, according to the 2025 plan, right? And so she would not fit that plan that ultra conservative group has put together with the 2025 plan. Now, what I wanted to do some more research on this, and I don't know if you have or no, if the Koch brothers was a part of the 2025 plan. Were they a part of investing in the 2025 plan? I don't know that. I didn't have time to do enough research on it, but I will do some research on it just to find out if they were, and they're pulling away from that coalition that has the plan to really do away with the Constitution and overthrow what we know of as the democracy that we've been living under all these years, right? So, but getting to the point, that question that you raised, we know traditionally white men, Anglo-Saxon men, do not want their women to be ahead of them, right? So we know that.
True.
So, but it looks like the tide is changing, because when you look at voters, the people who vote, the vast majority of people who vote are female. They're females. So the trend is changing. Why did Joe Biden pick Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris was female. So when that's how he was able to coerce the female and to vote for him for president. Let's be clear. They looking at a pattern here. Yeah, you may have a point here. They may not be setting her up to be president this time. But if Kamala Harris is going to run in after the Biden turn, she may be their alternative for a female to run for president of the United States.
Okay.
I can't, with all the things that's going on today and all the shenanigans and things going on, I don't really know what's going on in terms of them not wanting a female to be president of the United States. They want somebody that they can control, period. Let's cut through the chase.
We agree on that. We agree on that.
They want somebody they can control. Because whoever sits in that seat, they want to be able to have their ear and be able to have major influence. You and I both know that Donald Trump, if he goes back in, who is he going to get to work with him? I mean, just in his administration, who would want to work with him in his administration? Certainly, he hasn't been loyal to anybody. He hasn't supported anybody financially. We'll be talking about that in our next segment with Shanan and I. When John Eastman is crying now, he don't have the money to even defend himself. He don't have security like Trump and all that other stuff. You know, Trump, he's not been loyal to anybody. So who wants to go work for a person that's not going to be loyal?
Well, see, I think he'll get a whole lot of newcomers. Here's the thing: just to say, "Hey, I work for the president," just for you naive, you want to get in there, you trying to set yourself up some. So he'll get a lot of people. Whether he get the qualified people is going to be a different story. That goes back to his previous administration. So that Trump has a track record for the people that he recruit and get. And then about the Nikki and the Koch brothers, I can see that where that they would have more control over her than him because she is more in line with. She's been a politician before, being a governor, so she knows that she has certain. She's in the boundaries. She's gonna stay within the box, in the boundaries, and pretty much we'll be able to get to her like you were saying. And Trump gonna do his thing, but Trump has got to get back with see. I don't think our boy Putin is finished with Trump yet.
Okay.
See,
he ain't our boy. He may be somebody boy, but he ain't our boy. But let me just stop right there on that point.
Yeah.
Not that, and I know you're just saying it, but I'm just saying this in reference to Nikki Haley. Not only Nikki Haley, she's been an international ambassador to understand, a secretary to understand international politics, how to coerce and work with other governments. Donald Trump went in there with no knowledge of that, no understanding of that. He went straight into establish a relationship with who? Putin, the guy you talked about. That's his man. Mm-hmm. That's his role model. That's who he wants to be like. Every person he's aligned himself with has been what? Dictators, because that's what he wants to be, a dictator. We know that from his own business, his companies. What? If you didn't do what Donald Trump said, you're fired. From The Apprentice, you're fired. You're fired. The only somebody didn't fire was his daughter. But I'm just saying is, we know the man characteristics. We know what he is about. It's all about him being in charge. And they should have known that when they got behind him, that he was not going to listen to them. But getting back to your point, Nikki Haley has been there. She's been a governor. She's done with foreign affairs. So she has a better understanding of things, even more so than DeSantis. He's been the governor of a state, but he didn't have all this stuff is relationship, right? Let's be clear. It's about relationship, right? He didn't have those relationships like she would have. I believe that when you start looking at the Koch brothers and looking at her, and she is an alternative. Forget the rest of them. The rest of them just in it. Chris Christie is making a noise. He's making a case. He's letting people know Trump is a crook. It's Trump going to jail, and he more than likely is going to go to jail. He is not going to escape all those charges. Let's be clear. Okay, so they look at. I'm sorry. I wanted you to say something.
Go ahead. I'm saying that. About Trump going to jail, especially now, since the Koch brothers have done their thing and endorsed Haley. I really think that that's going to happen, and a lot of people don't believe it, but I think that they have to. I think this is part of the U.S. justice system cleaning itself up, and even I know a whole lot of people don't think he's going, but I think they got to do it in order for some more things that me and you talked about, him getting away with a lot of this stuff, meaning that basically me and you can now use this in the justice system and some, and the laws just don't flow that way for everybody,
Well, I just wanted to thank you for just spending the time to have this junkie talk with me all the way from Arkansas, because I think that we got a lot to be looking at. We got a lot to pay attention to, and we have to make sure that we encourage people all over the United States, Arkansas and alike, and every other state, to make sure that they vote when it's time to vote.
Absolutely. We definitely got to vote, because I tell a lot of people, And people don't think that their vote count. But one thing about it, as soon as you born in this country, you mixed up in it. And the thing is, how you gonna do it? Well, a lot of stuff affect us because of things that we don't do. We don't get involved, or we get involved one day and we don't continue to ask this elected official what I need and feel like I don't have that power. Yes, you do. You can call, right, talk to those people, and you get your point across, but you got to make sure that you got a valid point. This is just not on election day, you know. This has to be after the election. After this man gets elected, what do you want him to do, and are you checking on him? We check on our kids, you check to see if your paycheck is right, but so you need to check to make sure that this man is doing, a woman is doing what you're supposed to be doing in office.
Well, I
We in this
appreciate you
forever.
for saying that. I appreciate you for
Oh,
saying that because
yeah,
that's true. We
yeah,
don't hold them accountable.
yeah.
We put them in, but we
No.
don't hold them accountable.
Yeah,
We must
but
hold them
and the
accountable.
accountability is the fact that you're doing your job. And then
Right.
the people that run. We need to get a better set of group of people that run. And a lot of the best people don't ever run because they get caught up in the fact. And what's wrong with DC? It's not politicians that's in Congress. A lot of them are crooks. Cause see, politics is part of what me and you doing right now, debating the issue to help other people. They helping self. So they straight out crooks. So
Woo! And you said that.
yes, I did say that. Yes, I do
I,
know that. Yes, that's true.
yeah. And but the reality of it is they're self-serving. Let's put it like that. They're
Yeah,
self-serving.
but
They're
right.
definitely self-serving.
But you can serve yourself and help people because if you really help the folks, you gonna serve yourself to levels beyond what they even doing right now. They missing so much by not serving other people. But they don't understand that though. Yeah,
Well, I have a philosophy: when you're helping people, you really helping yourself.
helping yourself. Yes, that's
Well,
that's true. That's the gospel right there. See, that's the
that's the
gospel.
gospel.
You
That's
do
the
that.
gospel.
Yeah, that's the gospel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. Well, sis, I
yeah.
thank you so much for just joining me today, man, and spending this time with me here on Straight Talk. And don't forget to share this with your Arkansas family. I interview right here on Straight Talk. And we're going to have you back again because you are a political junkie, and I am too.
I
And
look forward to it.
look, when the three of us get together, if I get you and I and Shannon together, it's going to be on and popping, my brother.
Love it,
You have
love
a
it.
good
Would
one.
love, love it, love it. Yes, sir.
All
Thanks, Bro
right.
Greg. Thank you, man. Thank you. I hate I didn't get to see Brother Shannon, but listen, I'm here, and love talking about this.
All
But
right.
I folk people, y'all got to be aware because this is for keeps though. This is for real though. We talk, but this is for real. Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first right here on Straight Talk and with Brother Cecil all the way from Arkansas.
Yes, sir.
Until, well, Shannon, I tell you, the interview with Cecil was very inspirational and inspiring. He's a political junkie just like you and I. So we have political junkies everywhere, right?
He
But
is.
I did,
He is.
yeah, but very knowledgeable brother, and look forward to working and doing more work with him as we continue to do stuff around the world with Straight Talk.
Well, Arkansas is a very sophisticated political place. Don't forget, Bill Clinton comes up out of Arkansas.
Arkansas,
So
absolutely,
you know,
and Eddie Lee
look,
Brewster too.
and who?
Eddie Lee Brewster too.
Eddie
You know,
Lee
Eddie Lee
Brooks is
is
out of
from
Arkansas. I didn't
Eddie,
know that.
yeah, Eddie Lee from
I
Arkansas.
didn't
He's
know
from
that. It makes
Arkansas.
sense. It makes
Yeah,
sense.
he's from Arkansas. He's from Arkansas. Yes, he is.
Okay.
At least from
Okay.
Arkansas. Yeah, but
A
one thing we
Razorback.
see for her news, and information, we see is always good, bringing us great information. Just wanted to let people know this Saturday rather, we'll funeralize Sister Blondine Barnett, the wife of the late Bishop J.D. Barnett. There will be her funeral this Saturday at the Central Holiness Church. All right, but we're gonna go now and just kind of talk a little bit about. I want to talk a little bit about who's going to be our next flipper? Let me put my glasses on. Let me talk about who's going to be our next flipper. We got another flipper coming. And I believe that flipper going to be John Eastman. I think that John Eastman is going to be your next flipper. Because Fann is she's going for the big dog. And with him saying stuff like what he's saying, it kind of lets us know that he's about ready to flip. I want to go back to Sister Barnett's funeral, this homegoing service this week. So let's be in prayer for her and her family, and may God continue to bless them and keep them in His tender care. But when you hear this interview with him with the lady from Fox News, and then Ben Marcellus from Mighty Mighty, and he lays it out. I think you'll have, and some people that will listen will have the same idea that I have. I think he's going to be the next flipper. Let's go to this interview now. Let's see what's happening here.
John, and just again to we clarify this, on January 6th, what did you want to happen, and how was that historically grounded? And the history of our country, how would that have taken place? So just so the viewers can understand what would have unfolded and how that would have ultimately been constitutional.
So there, several things. Some people had urged that Vice President Pence simply had power to reject electors whose certification was still pending in legal contests.
I don't believe that, but go ahead. I don't believe that.
I don't
That's
either.
One thing I don't agree with.
And I explicitly told Vice President Pence in the Oval Office on January 4th that even though it was an open issue, under the circumstances we had, I thought it was the weaker argument, and it would be foolish to exercise such power even if he had it. What I recommended, and I've said this repeatedly, is that he accede to requests from more than 100 state legislators in the swing states to give them a week to try and sort out the impact of what everybody acknowledged was illegality in the conduct of the election.
And I specifically said, it. Yeah, not everyone acknowledged it, but that was the argument that was being made, obviously. And there were obviously irregularities that everybody had seen, but whether that was, whether it rose to the level of changing the outcome of the election, again, without a legal proceeding in the states that mattered, the argument ultimately was a difficult one to make. I mean, hence here we are.
Here's the filing by John Eastman. Defendant Eastman's opposition to the state's motion to schedule a trial date for August 5th, 2024 says, Defendant John Eastman, by and through his counsel, files his opposition to the state's motion to schedule a trial date for August 5th, 2024, stating in part that waiting until June 21, 2024 for the final plea date is both arbitrary and capricious. The final plea date should be established earlier in 2024 so that the defendant who does not have lifetime United States Secret Service protection and who are not running for election to an office can exercise and have the right to their jury trial completed within 2024. And you see right there in bold the word completed, contemplating that if trial were to start on August 5th, 2024, it would not be completed for probably 6 months to 9 months thereafter. It would be completed in 2025. So Eastman's like, let's set this trial sooner, which would essentially be asking for an earlier trial date, somewhere in the range of probably February or March 2024. Eastman goes on to say, within the state's motion, the state asserts it will entertain guilty pleas up to the final plea date. It continues, after the final plea date, the defendants will only have the option of non-negotiated pleas, and the state intends to recommend maximum sentences and at any remaining sentencing hearings. Moreover, the state requests this court to not consider any severance issues until after the final plea date. Establishing a final plea date earlier in 2024 and severing the defendants into 2 groups would provide more than enough time for the court to try 2 trials, each of 8 of fewer defendants, absent former President Trump, who at the president may be said to be the presumptive Republican nominee for the office of the presidency. Without defendant Trump in the courtroom, the U.S. Secret Service will not be involved in providing enhanced security, and the trials will proceed faster. Respectfully submitted the 27th day of November 2023. With all things, what Fulton County District Attorney Fann Willis is going to say is look, we anticipate that this trial is going to be far narrower by the time it goes to trial. I wouldn't be surprised also if we see some more plea agreements that are entered into even in 2023 and then early 2024, maybe one or two more. And then as you get closer to that June date, I think you'll see a lot of plea agreements being entered. And then I think the case proceeds against maybe seven to 8 people in general, including Donald Trump. So as I mentioned earlier, too, you have Eastman whining, saying lawfare is punishing me for advising Trump. It's going to cost me $3 million. And in this article by The Federalist, this far right-wing website, he says, this is what I call an authoritarian moment in our history. The whole premise here is the government has spoken and you continue to say otherwise. You are therefore lying. And he says that he's raised $500,000 to date, but it's going to cost him $3.5 million. And quote, I'm trying very hard not to completely deplete my wife's retirement fund.
Now, Shannon. Now, you've heard that. You've heard what Eastman has said, and you saw the expression on the reporter's face as he was saying it. Her face started changing, like, wait a minute, hold up. And then she disagreed with him, right? So then you come back and you hear where he's filed this motion for a speedy trial for him and arrest, and he wants to do it sometime in February and move up the date for negotiations, right? For plea negotiation versus June the 5th, right? So now, and then this is the kicker for me. At the end, he cries about, I don't want to deplete my wife's retirement savings. I don't want to deplete my wife's retirement savings. So it's been alleged, and I don't know how true it is, media is saying it's about they are in negotiation with possibly 6 other people now that possibly they're looking to flip, right? So I believe that Eastman is under so much pressure. He's not getting the support from Trump financially. He doesn't want to deplete his wife's retirement. She don't want him to deplete her retirement. We both married. We both understand that, and people listening understand that, right? So he's in a position here where it's, hey, I got to do something. I don't have the money to defend myself. My wife don't want me to deplete her retirement. So I see him as our next flipper, or one of the next flippers. Why are you sitting there so stoic? Do you have anything to say? Are you frozen over there? I think he done froze up. I guess he'll come back in a minute. He must have froze up. But that's unlike Shanan not to have anything to say. He's got to have frozen up by now. But anyway, I don't know. That's the way I see it for those of you who are viewing. When you look at all the facts of what's being said and what's going on, the man is crying. He's crying for help. Help me. I mean, I can't. Give me something to go on, because it said that she's going to go after. No doubt, she's going after Donald Trump. She's going after Rudy Giuliani. She's going after Meadows. She's going after those individuals because those individuals were key players in this thing that happened in Georgia by calling the Secretary of State and asking for them to find these votes, and then coming here and lying on Ruby Freeman and her daughter, and this big plot and scheme that they placed or put together here in the state of Georgia. So this is how I see it, and I'm hoping that Shanan can come back and give his opinion on it. But the facts are there. The facts are there. I mean, he was a part of it. even though he said he was advising him as an attorney, but your plan to overthrow the election and cause the election to and asking that, hey, you just stay it off for a couple of weeks and let the people in the different states work a plan or carry out the plan that I have concocted, and now have you have these false electors. And some of them are now part of the RICO case being presented by DA Fanny Willis. So the plot goes on and on and on and on. But I see that Mr. Eastman, I feel that Mr. Eastman is ready to roll over. I think Mr. Eastman is ready to say, hey, whatever deal I can get, give me my deal. So Shanan, I know you froze, but that's where I feel. I just feel like Mr. Eastman is ready to roll over and say, give me my deal.
Oh, he's ready.
You know?
He's absolutely ready. He's ready. In fact, you could speed it up now, because when you're ready to do everything now, you already know what you're going to do.
Right.
And so he's ready to have those negotiations, and he's ready to flip, because really, none of them believe that Trump's coattails are going to save them, and those coattails are getting shorter and shorter with all of these mounted cases and everything that's going on. So you know, it's a matter of ye of little faith. Excuse me. They had big faith when they carried the stick and walked, but when the stick of power was taken from them, and then a stick began to beat them, they began to scatter. And so, you know, you hit the shepherd, and the sheep will scatter. And so these are all of Trump's disciples, and they're all running away. They're all denying him 3 times. Not to say that he's a Christ, but he has been a central figure in this movement, and they're flipping, and he's running very unpopularly. He's not running unpopularly, but he's embracing some very unpopular platforms and policies and positions that are causing folks like the Koch brothers and others to abandon him and move. So yes, I think you're right that Eastman is the latest Detroit spinner to flip and move away. But hey, that's the way love goes.
That's the way love goes. But listen, I think that one is that Eastman is going to be. He's not really the one that they really. I mean, they want all of them to flip as many as they can, but the one that they really want to flip, but I don't think Fann is willing to cut a deal with him, and that's Meadows and Giuliani. That's Meadows, and she's giving dates. She has given dates for everybody to come and do it. Yeah, but she says she's not going to give a deal to either one of them. But I believe that if the information is relevant enough, they'll get some kind of deal. They won't get the deal that Chesbird and Ellis and the Mr. Howard and the other one got. They won't get that sweetheart deal. That was a sweetheart deal. They got a sweetheart deal.
Well, you don't know what they know.
Deal. Yeah, we got a sweetheart deal.
You don't know what they know.
I don't know. Well, I put it like this. I don't know what they know. But I do know this. That this train is coming to the station, and it's coming to an end for Mr. Trump here in Fulton County. I can't say about, the D.C. case. I can't say about the Mar-a-Lago case. It looked like they're appealing in New York with that case, and dealing with the judge and gag orders and even Judge Shefflin with gag orders and all that. But as a sidebar, I am really, really these judges. Now people know how important judges are, and why we need to go and make sure that we're voting for judges, and that we know the characteristics of those judges, and we don't just vote because of I behind their name. You know, we don't vote for judges because of the I behind their name, but we know what kind of judge they are. Are they administering true justice, or they administering partial party justice, right? Because we need people who are dealing true justice, because we're now looking at, and I'm going to say this and then I'll let you elaborate, but we're looking at one thing that I think that's very important. When you have them saying now that the only someone that can bring the Eighth Circuit's appeal court said that the only someone that can bring anything about a voting discrepancy is the Department of Justice. A citizen can't do it. A lawyer can't do it. A civil rights group can't do it. It has to be brought on by the Department of Justice. Shanan, we are living in some awful and terrible times when we have people who can't see it. And the judge in Colorado who said, yes, he committed an insurrection. However, he did not violate the Constitution. Well, if he took his oath of office and to defend within and without, and he didn't defend within, he violated his oath of office. And he did, and you say he created an insurrection. Hey, I don't see what, there ain't nothing more plainer than that. I'm going to leave that alone, and then we're going to close it out.
Well, I'm going to be real quick. Statutory law creates statutory apartheid in the midst of a non-geographical ideological civil war. Everything seems to be up in the air now, and we don't know which way this thing is falling. But folks had better realize that there is a great deal of orchestration going into a Trump presidential possibility, part two possibility. And if not Trump, still a plan to move the country in a way that is perhaps not a populist view of where the country should be going.
Well, with that being said, everybody ought to know that you need to go to the polls, register to vote, and vote. Don't just register to vote, but go to the polls and vote. Vote early, go to the polls and vote, and make sure that you vote. Take your brother, your sister, and everybody. Everybody's saying, well, if my vote don't matter. Well, if your vote didn't matter, why are they trying to take your vote away? Why is it that they're trying to oppress us? Why did they have us counting jelly beans and bubbles of soap? How many bubbles in a bar of soap? Why did they have us doing a literacy test when they knew that they weren't allowing us to learn how to read? Why, if your vote don't matter? Why in 2023, going into 2024, they're trying to stop us from voting? Your vote does matter. The vote does not matter, only doesn't matter when you don't what? Vote. So let's make sure that we go to the polls to vote. Make sure you check your registration. Make sure you vote your voting precinct where you need to vote at. But let's vote coming up in the next 2024 election. And well, as we always say, you know, this ain't nothing but what? Straight talk. And we ask that you subscribe to our channel. We ask you to like us. We ask that you would make comments. We'd like to hear from you. And then we'd like for you to share. All right? And if you want to be a guest, Shannon's got room for you. Right, Shanan? Right here on
I got
Straight
room.
Talk.
We got room.
All right. This ain't been nothing but Straight Talk. We'll see you next week. Take us on out of here, Hal.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Craig Fann at FANN922 at Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the